Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new hero, Ezizh, Lord of Nightmares. Now he's an awakened hypogen hero, and he wears intelligence-based gear, and his class is the Mage Tree, and his primary role is to do damage and provide a bit of control for his allies. So let's have a look at his abilities. His ultimate skill, Nightmare's Descent. Ezizh produces a Nightmare Shockwave that deals damage equal to 280% of his attack rating to all enemies, rendering their ultimate skills unusable for 2 seconds. The shockwave causes the battlefield to be transformed into a hellish nightmare for 10 seconds. Ezizh is unable to recover energy while the battlefield is transformed into a hellish nightmare, but he'll produce a nightmare shockwave once every 4 seconds. Ezizh gains 10 haste points for every enemy that is in a state of insanity, while the battlefield is transformed into a hellish nightmare. Level 3, Ezizh produces an additional nightmare shockwave each time an ally uses their ultimate skill while the battlefield is transformed into a hellish nightmare. Effect can be triggered up to 2 times. Then his next ability, Depths of Darkness. At the start of battles, Ezizh causes the enemy mirroring his own position to fall in a nightmare state. Up until they receive damage equal to 40% of their max health, or 10 seconds have passed. So this is an extremely powerful control-based ability. The next level 2 upgrade, when Ezizh suffers from a control effect, the damage he receives over the following 6 seconds is reduced by 10%. The next upgrade, when Ezizh suffers from a control effect, the damage he receives over the following 6 seconds is reduced by 16%. This is up from 10%. Level 4, after resisting a control effect due to tenacity or immunity effects, the same effect stated above shall occur. So this is his damage reduction, but with a 50% reduced duration. When Ezizh suffers from a control effect, the source of the effect is put into a nightmare state, up until they receive damage equal to 20% of their max health, or 6 seconds have passed. This effect may only be triggered once every 5 seconds. Then his next ability, Mind Flame. Ezizh uses an abyssal tentacle to deal damage to enemies that equals 260% of his attack rating, and also drains their sanity, forcing them into a state of insanity for 8 seconds. All enemies that are insane lose 12 tenacity points, and all allied heroes gain 6 tenacity points. Enemies that are currently in a state of insanity are additionally terrified for 2.5 seconds if this sanity is drained again. If an enemy is in a state of insanity when they are dealt damage from Ezizh, the following damage dealt to them from Ezizh is increased by 6% per attack up to 24% is reached. The stack damage bonus shall be reset when the insanity effect wears off. His next ability, Nightmare Arc. This focuses nightmare energy and unleashes it onto an enemy, dealing damage equal to 260% of his attack rating to them, also stunning them for 1 second. If the enemy is successfully stunned, the effects of the nightmare energy are transferred to a new target, who will suffer the same damage and effects as before. The energy transfer effect will continue targeting new enemies up until an enemy resists the attack, or the energy is successfully transferred 6 times. If the skill is used when the battlefield has been transformed into a hellish nightmare, the nightmare energy will always be transferred to the maximum number of times. Enemies targets lose 20 energy points when stunned. Each time nightmare energy is transferred to a target in a state of insanity, the damage caused by the following energy transfers is increased by 15% of Ezizh's attack rating, and will also cause the enemy's targets to enter a state of insanity. So this is his passive ability that benefits all of his allies, and this is a awakened skill that only awakened heroes have. So this is a passive. After every 10 seconds of battle, Ezizh enters a dream state that allows him to become immune to all damage and control effects for 8 seconds. While in a dream state, Ezizh is able to normally cast his skills and he gains 20 haste points, while his damage is increased by 25% each time Ezizh enters a dream state. The amount of time needed to enter it again is increased by 4 seconds, and the amount of time he stays in a dream state is decreased by 2 seconds, but no fewer than 4 seconds. Each time an allied hero successfully resists a control effect due to their tenacity, the amount of time needed for Ezizh to enter the dream state is reduced by half a second. So this is an extremely powerful ability, especially when paired up with his other damage reduction abilities and his control-based abilities. So let's have a look at his signature item. So his signature item mainly upgrades are through his abilities over here, and his furniture increases the duration and damage that he does, and this can be seen from this ability. So let's have a look at Ezizh in battle. Now, the key factor about this hero is he's usable even at legendary tier. This is essentially one copy of the hero. Now, what's special about him is he can immediately stun the hero opposite him. There we go, a stun for 10 seconds. This allows you to essentially control one of the enemy heroes as soon as they enter battle. So this is extremely effective, especially against heroes such as Iran, who instead of being able to pull your allies, he's immediately stunned, forcing him to not be able to use your abilities and your allies to gain control over the battle. The same is true for Verk. He cannot lay down his poisons, so your allies can easily invade the enemy team. This is the same for any hero that uses their ability at the beginning of battle. So there we go, there's his tentacle whip, and he also uses a little ball where he charges up and he throws it onto the enemy. This ball is able to chain between enemies multiple times and interrupting them a couple of times as well. So let's have a look at his ultimate ability. The first thing, he goes into a nightmare state. There's the nightmare state, and every single 4 seconds he sends out a shockwave. This cancels their ult and interrupts them for a couple of seconds. So let's have a look at him in a battle. So alright, we're going to place the Awakened Ezizh opposite the Odin. Now what does Odin do at the beginning of battle? He creates a portal where he teleports one of the enemy heroes on top of another hero, stunning them and in some cases reducing their energy recovery. This is extremely powerful for the enemy Odin. However, you can immediately cancel this effect, allowing you to gain control over the battle. So let's have a look at how this battle transpires. So there we go, he's immediately stunned. There he uses his whip. Now he uses the ball, which is able to chain between enemies, allowing him to deal damage multiple times to the enemy. There's his nightmare state, where he cancels the enemy's ult for 2 seconds each time he sends out the shockwave. Now this is extremely effective. However, he does not gain any energy even if he manages to kill some of the enemy heroes. There we go, an easy victory. So let's have a look at his damage. So as we can see, he did moderate damage. However, these are against enemies of the same level. So let's have a look at a slightly higher deficit. So his primary role will be to control enemies at the beginning of battle. Another hero that is extremely dangerous when they are able to use their abilities are heroes such as Flora. So instead of having the Flora being able to rise into a sky and fly over your team, you can immediately take control of them and you can start dealing damage to the Flora before she has even had the chance to fly up into the sky. Now there we go, we can see the passive skill that he's using where he becomes immune to damage. This is his little mirage state that he goes into, and he's using his abilities permanently throughout the entire battle. And even if the enemy has a chance, the shockwave from Ezizh can easily cancel the ultimate and allow your ally to gain control over the battle. So one of the teams that he might work extremely well in would be stall-based teams such as Olna Grazul or the Charizard such as Mihira teams. Additionally, he might as well work in burst or invade-like teams such as Lucretia, where you can put him opposite a hero that is extremely dangerous for Lucretia, and he can essentially allow Lucretia to gain control over the battle so that you can gain an easy victory. So let's have a look at another battle. As you can see, he did not do the most damage. However, he provided a significant amount of control for my allies. Now the next team is a Raku control-based team. Now as soon as he starts, we stunned the Theowen. This immediately cancelled her chance to be able to move and essentially curse one of my allies. This allowed Raku to do a significant amount of damage. As you can see, she's one of the first couple of heroes to have been taken out. So I would highly recommend that if you're looking to build one of the Awakened heroes, that the Awakened Ezizh is a much better option compared to the Awakened Talene, as the Awakened Ezizh can be easily used and slotted into most teams, even at a legendary tier. So if you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe.